Man, we are on live here, episode 17 of 26 Sports. It's your host, Mike Reza, on with the one and only David, got the wrong hat on, Duran. How's it going today, brother?
What up, Mike? What up, Mike? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Just here, another day, man. How you doing?
Oh man, just surviving in these crazy times we call 2020.
Yep. Well, hey, 4 months away now. Hopefully 2021 is a lot better.
Man, I mean that's being hopeful, right?
Yep. But that's all we got right now, so we got to take what we
That's
have.
right.
So, speaking of that, man, now you had two fights now postponed this year over the same thing. This one was a lot closer. I mean, we were a few weeks away. You were gonna go to Miami. Yes, it was no fans, but it was gonna be the show, and it was for a title. When you got that information that it was postponed again, what were your thoughts on it, man, and how were the feelings at that point?
Man, it wasn't too much of a shock to me. I think the bigger thing was, and always has been, just getting to that date. You can put something down on paper, you can put something down on the calendar. Until you get to that destination, you don't know if that event's ever gonna
Yeah,
ever gonna take place. It's happened in the past with other opponents. It could have even been a local show. And I've had
yeah.
guys not show up, guys pull out the day before. Um, yeah, so the biggest objective, especially with the times and the way things are, was just getting to the date.
Yeah, and I mean, it was looking like a real good fight. You fought in between the weights of flyweight and bantamweight. Even your opponent Juan Puerta, who I had on, talked about how big you are as a flyweight. That it was going to be a real tough challenge because you're not small. You're more built for a higher division, but you can make the weight. So knowing that you were in shape, knowing that you were ready, and knowing that it was a title on the line, how much more did that sting, as you said, compared to local shows or anything like that?
Honestly, man, I mean, I probably about 2 days ago, I actually listened to the interview you did with Puerta,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of people or a lot of mixed martial artists that'll say, the belt is everything to me. The belt is this to me. To me, it was another fight.
yeah,
The real challenge for me is going against the very best opponents that they can put in front of me. For most of my career, I've been the guy that's like anytime, any place, anywhere.
that's true.
So the belt wasn't a big deal to me. It was just more of the challenge of Juan Puerta. And the irony behind it is that for Juan to say that I'm a big flyweight, man, that guy is lanky,
Yeah,
bro. He's
yeah,
he he's like 5'10". He might even be 5'11". I mean, I looked at his profile and there's like about 3 or 4 different heights on him,
yeah,
which I don't really have a gauge for. So he's a really, really tall guy to be able to make 125.
yeah,
So we're built different statures. I might be big, but he's very, very long and very, very tall. So,
yes,
it's a pick your poison type of fight, man. I mean, those long guys, they get their arms around you. You got to know what you're doing.
yeah,
And then the same way that you get the short guys that are built like fire hydrants that are just like, they're just like little tree stumps. It's a different type of power.
yeah.
So it's definitely a type of matchup that styles make fights.
Yeah, and that's what he said. Is he going to be able to get you to the ground and do what he has to do? And how is he going to avoid your power if you're able to land on him? What was he going to do at that point? So it was one of those fights that I was looking forward to because I've seen both of you guys fight. I've seen, you throughout the years. I've seen him throughout the years. And when it was announced, I was like, that's a tough fight for both because he's coming in off a winning streak, but he may not have fought someone that hits as hard as you. Like, and you don't go down, you don't lose, like, where it's, oh yeah, he's on the ground, it's over. You're gonna keep fighting until there's nothing left. So it was a good mix of styles, as you said, and to see it, postponed again, I was like, come on, man, like, but it's the times that we're living in at the moment. It's what's going on, and it's something we got to keep working through.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I think the bigger thing for a lot of people and they need to realize is not just the social distancing and the masks and trying to keep everybody else safe, man. But you got to look out for yourself in these times,
Yeah.
in the sense of like your immune system, man. I mean, a lot of people are staying cooped up, and I mean, that vitamin D, that sun, man. You
Yes.
know that definitely plays a huge factor in your health as an individual. So it's crazy times. I don't think we've anybody saw this coming along, you know. So
Yeah.
now we're just forced to deal with it. Businesses, gyms, I mean, that whole sector is just kind of taking a huge hit. So if
Yeah.
you're able to train and still get everything you need to do, man, I mean, you're super blessed.
Yeah, and that's where I think it really started to hit. It was like, all right, things are gonna slow down. We're gonna put things away for a little bit. But then it was gyms, and it was all this. Hey, just stay inside. Don't do this. But doing that kind of goes against the natural things. You do need the sun. You do need to be outside because you have to have that immune system to battle what's going to happen. I mean, you're already at risk if you're outside. If you work, I mean, I work in a warehouse, so I mean, I'm exposed to it pretty much.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't have it, but I've been exposed more than likely. But I'm also outside. I have a punching reflex bag outside. I have weights. I have things that keep me doing things. I take vitamins. I do all these things. I'm a bigger guy, but I'm doing things to help myself in case I do get sick. Like that's always how I've been. So when I heard, oh, gyms are gonna close down, it's like, man, I hope these people could run, walk, do something because you're kind of going against the natural instincts of what we need to do. The sun is a big help, no matter what.
100%, man. And there's so many unknowns, you know. So somebody taking, themselves into consideration and going for those walks, or just kind of staying active is kind of a big deal, man. I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's one of the biggest things that's overlooked right now, especially with these with all the COVID going on, and people's immune systems not being up to par. I mean, that's really what COVID is feeding off of, is
yeah,
people that have weakened immune systems. So, I encourage everybody that's out there, man, go for a walk. Don't be scared, man. I mean, at the end of the day, unless you're an elderly person and your immune system's already fighting something off, then I mean, by all means, stay inside where it's safe. But if you're a young person, you have the ability to get up and go outside and walk and run and lift some weights, man, go and do that, because it's
yeah.
it's only going to benefit you in the long run.
Yeah, I have a friend, a professional boxer named Jamal Herring. He got it. He was told the day after I actually had him on the show that he tested positive. It pretty much just went through him because, as you said, he was running. He was already in shape. He was constantly drinking water. He said he only felt a fever for like maybe a day or so. And it was the fact that he was already in shape and constantly working out that it pretty much just flew right through him. So
Exactly.
seeing that, it's like, yeah, if you're even if you're not in the best of shape, do something that helps you fight it because we really don't know what's gonna beat it at this point in time. So anything that normally is good for you, do it, and let's go with that because it's tough
Yeah,
times,
man.
as you said. It's unknown. We don't know what we're fighting yet.
Exactly, man.
Yeah. So speaking of that, I mean, you've gone back and forth with Combate and Bellator. You know, how does it feel the difference in, we'll say, atmospheres at first with Bellator compared to Combate Americas?
You know, the only thing bigger about Bellator is the venues that they book, and they normally don't sell them out. So Combates doesn't overextend their reach. They book places that they know they're going to sell out.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I fought on the Long Beach card at the Pyramid. They sold that place out. It was packed. I mean, I think you mentioned it on a previous cast before. Was when you go there and the fights start kicking, man, the crowd's going crazy.
Yeah.
The people are going nuts. I mean, the crowds are lively out there. So Combate definitely knows what they're doing. They got the executives and they got the management in place to be able to make those type of decisions that are going to benefit them and benefit the viewers as well. And then obviously, with Campbell, being at the forefront. I
Yeah.
mean, his whole thing is what? It's fight like a Mexican,
Yeah.
not like a Colombian, right? So it's
Yeah.
fight like a Mexican. That's his whole get up, man. So um, he knows that we bring it every time, man. And going back to fighting for different promotions, man. My last four, I think it was three or four. My last three or four, man, have been like late notice fights,
Yeah.
like a week or a week and a half. And I don't know if it's become one of the trademarks that they know, like, oh, you go to Duran, Duran will take it.
Yeah.
And that could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, right? But at the same time, I didn't get into the fight game to turn fights down.
Yep.
I want to fight the best. You know, fighting is a short-lived profession, man. You got to get in, make what you can, and then get out.
Yeah.
You see a lot of fighters, a lot of older fighters, a lot of boxers, a lot of mixed martial artists that the sport lets them go. They never let the sport go. And it's sad. I mean, not to bring the legend up, but BJ Penn. How many times did we see him fight as of recent times? More like, man, just. You had such a legacy, and now you just tarnished it with the last 3 or 4 fights, And obviously, I'm no one to criticize because, I mean, he's a legend. But at the same time, you don't want to see guys go through that.
Yeah,
so my objective has always been to go in there and get what I need to get out of the sport, and specifically for my own personal, accomplishments, and get out, man. Know when to let go.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's an old saying in boxing is, retire from the sport. Don't let the sport retire you. Yeah, and that's the truth because we see that. I mean, you pointed out BJ Penn. Look what happened with Chuck Liddell. He kept staying. He kept fighting, and the difference was Penn in his fights was getting beat up. A couple decisions. Chuck was getting knocked out cold, and I mean, you seen the last fight he actually had. Tito hurt him bad, and it's like he doesn't need that. At that now. I mean, they have that whole rivalry with him and Tito, but now Tito could say, yeah, you technically stopped me where the ref jumped in. I knocked you out straight.
Exactly.
Like I knocked you out cold. And it's always going to be, what did you do for me lately? So the last thing that they'll see was him unconscious and Tito standing over him. So
exactly.
So, I mean, yeah, it's tough to see that. Especially with me, I mean, I got really more into MMA when I got into high school. So fighters that I followed, when I started to see him get beat up, lose bad, it was kind of like, man, I remember when I got into the sport, it was this guy. Like, Anderson Silva, for me, has always been my favorite MMA fighter of all time, hands down. But when I started to see him lose, and when I started to see him lose, it was like, man, you need to retire, man. Like, I don't want to see this no more. I don't want to see you get beat up. But the difference with him is you could still see the skill and the talent because he's not getting stopped. He's getting beat, but he's not getting stopped as BJ Penn, Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, all those other type of fighters.
And that goes to show that a couple things, right? He's managed correctly, one. Mm-hmm. Number two, he's managing himself correctly. Yep. Because you don't take a fight that you're overstepping your boundaries. So he understands. I mean, the fight with Israel Adesanya, you knew what was going to happen then. Yep. That's right down Anderson Silva's wheelhouse, right? Yep. So he's taking fights that he knows benefits his style. So that's what you would consider a smart fighter. Yep. Guys that are just doing things out of a redemption, like a Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, trilogy down in Oscar De La Hoya's, like. There's no need for that. Yeah. We understand that both these guys are past their prime. One's younger, one's older, one's taking more damage, the other one hasn't. You can clearly tell who has the benefit in this fight, right? So, man, it's a big thing with fighters, And then I think going back to myself, I've kind of paced myself in my pro career where I have a lot of guys. I mean, I can name guys. UFC that just got there, guys that have been there for a while. I mean, I train with these guys all the time, and watching these guys' progression get to this point, these guys were fighting twice a month, 3 times every 2 months, 4 times every 2 months or whatever. I mean, these guys were just trying to bang them out to get their record up there. Some of them it worked out, some of them it didn't. But in that time period, them taking damage has shortened their careers. Yeah. I've fought like a champion my entire career in the sense it's been like 3 fights a year, 2 fights a year. Most of them were like, hey, I need a guy on like 2 weeks notice or a week and a half notice. I'm ready. I stay ready. I'm in the gym every day. So I haven't taken the type of punishment that a lot of these fighters have taken to get to these records that they have. Yeah. And honestly, I think that's something that's benefited me up to this point because I still have my wits about me. I can still articulate sentences. I can still understand who, what, when, where, why,
Yeah.
and if it benefits me to take a fight or not.
Yeah, and then as you said, that's kind of your moniker. Hey, he'll do it. You're reliable. They know that it's not going to be. Hey, let's call him. Hopefully he makes weight. Hopefully it's hey, call David. He's ready. He'll be on weight. I guarantee it. It's something that and then like look, with Combates, as you said, you're going back and forth. I know you said the title is not the biggest thing, but that was your reward for always being dependable. Is hey, get David in there. We're giving him a title shot, and that one wasn't. Oh, let him know 6 days before. That was announced from back what January, February. So you
Yeah,
had
man,
time.
we were
Yeah,
back. We were up like around March, February, somewhere around there,
yeah,
man. But so yeah, it did give me time.
yeah, and that's the difference. It's that one was let him know now, so it's not as you said an overextension, but you're always ready. But it was more of you get the right full set of a training camp as opposed to hey you got a week to come and do this. And as you've seen with your fights, it's I mean you're always ready, but when you don't have that full camp to prepare for that certain fighter, 4, 5, 6 weeks, it's a little harder. You're going in there like, hey, let's get this done and see what happens. When you're ready, it's
Exactly.
it's a big difference. So, but as I said, that was your reward for always being dependable. You had that title shot, but as we said, things happen right now. So, um, I know we haven't heard anything back yet about if there's a possible return in the next few weeks, months, or anything. I know Florida pretty much is a lot more shut down with their airports. I've spoken to a couple people from Combate, and I did throw out California because, as you've seen, California is going to have a few more boxing events coming in the next few weeks. So if they were to give you that call, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but they're to say, hey, be ready September 11th, 9th, 10th, whatever day it would be, we're going to do it in California. Would that make it even easier for you because you live in California?
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. Anytime you're fighting on home turf, it definitely makes things a lot easier, right? I mean, you have the you know where to go. You have your routine, where and what you use to rehydrate, right?
Yeah.
You go across the country. It's a little bit different in the sense of you're like, do they have sprouts here? Like, what do they have? Like,
Yeah.
and we all have our routines, right? So like, I know Puerta probably was like, yeah, man. I mean, it's a benefit for me to stay here in Florida and fight because I think he moved there. So yeah, home field advantage is always huge. Being that there's not going to be no crowd, we're not talking about the crowd. We're just talking about your comfortability being in the city that you're gonna perform in, that you're gonna compete in.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but I mean it is what it is. Um, Actually, California was the backup for this fight, from what I was told. Um, Now, how much that's going to come into play or come into fruition as to them taking action on that, I'm not sure. I do know that a day or two after I got the call for the cancellation, um, California or CSAC did
Yeah.
announce that they were gonna start letting sanctioned events happen in California. So,
Yeah.
you know, for me, as soon as they told me, I was like, all right, well, we're still gonna train.
Yeah.
According to my opponent, he said he's been training for like over half a year.
Yeah.
Now, that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go good. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, right? I mean, so for me, it's just I've pumped the brakes a bit and kept the singular focus as to where I'm focused on in that fight.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a lot of things that I do to prepare, and there's a lot of things that I implemented on this camp as far as science goes. In me being an older fighter, I don't know how old Puerta is. I think he's like 30, 31 or something, maybe something like that. I'm 35, baby. I'm putting it down for all the old vatos. So, you know, hey, you throw the youngsters in there with me, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. But yeah, man, I mean, just taking into consideration, listening to my body, understanding when the rest periods need to be taken, and when to really, really push to be able to peak.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do, especially in this time, as you said, it was stopped, canceled at the moment. So pump the brakes, but stay in the gym, as you say. And yeah, Puerta, I think he had said when he's not fully training, he still needs to do some sort of workout just to keep himself, as you said, listen to the body, keep going. Maybe not 120%, maybe just at 90 to 100. So that's always good. And as you said, it could be good, it could be bad. If you were running full speed all year, then yeah, at some point you might crash down. But if you're doing, just enough to keep you in shape, and then you ramp it up, that's probably better. So,
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, like I said, I want to see that fight. I want to see it. So hopefully that gets done.
Man, I want to fight. I
Yeah,
just want to fight.
yeah. It's gonna be almost a year since your last fight, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, we're coming up. We're coming up on that year
Yeah,
pretty soon, man. In October. I mean, I'm fighting every day in the gym, but
yeah,
that's not the same as being in there one on one with another dude. Especially
yeah,
for 25 minutes. It's
yeah.
just a
So
different atmosphere.
yeah. Now, as you said, you're in the gym with all these different fighters. From the gym you're at, go ahead and shout them out. But what have you learned most through the years there from the team, and in just certain fighters? Like, what have you learned most as a fighter and as a person?
Man, so I run most. I run the majority of my training camps out of Brazilian Top Team in Orange County, which is Total MMA Studios. Um, but I have a lot of other gyms that I train out of. I have Pledge, who's my strength and conditioning. So those guys over there, Coach Ray doesn't take it easy on me. He did 3 tours to Iraq. So, when you're bitching about it being hot, he's like, man, you don't know what hot is.
Yeah,
So he runs a successful program over there. So he's always keeping me ready, man. And I'm the same as Huerta in the sense of like this is a lifestyle for me. So
yeah,
like whether I have a fight or not, I'm eating right. I'm training on the daily. So but as far as learning, man, I think the biggest thing that I've learned probably in the last 6 months coming out of Cejudo's camp, there was a lot of stuff that I picked up, and it's the little things that guy does that makes him the champion that he is. He's got science behind his training, but more than anything is understanding when to go hard on your body, when to take your rest days, and within those rest days, what type of work are you putting in as far as focus on the skill set that you need towards your opponent. So there's a lot more to fighting than just getting in there, learning the skills, putting in the work, pushing 120%. There's a lot of mental that goes into it too, man. I mean, and it's not something that everybody has, right?
yeah,
You can go watch a fight at a public place and you can hear the shit talking and you're like, get up. Like you think the guy on the ground's not trying to get up?
yeah,
Like there's a mentality behind it, right? So you can tell that it's not there
yeah,
for everybody. So it just takes a different breed, man. But mostly, what I picked up is that there's a lot of mindfulness to fighting. 80 to 90% of it is mental. Your body's gonna follow the mind, but how
yeah,
strong is your mind to be able to pull that body behind you?
yeah. And that's something you can see with Henry. I mean, he's one of the best of all time for a reason. Now,
100%.
when he retired, did you know that was a possibility, or did it kind of catch you off guard like it did with the rest of us?
No comment.
like
No comment.
like I had heard words here and there, but it was like he's not gonna do it right now. And then he did it. I was like, okay, like how do I respond to that? Like you just got a stoppage victory over against someone who's never been stopped, and that's how you go out. Well, okay, I get it now, but man, you're at your peak right now. You're there. So it was shock. No, I mean, I was more surprised that he did it then, but I mean, no better way to do it than, as I said, beating and stopping someone who hasn't been stopped before. So yeah, it was just the peak of it. It's weird to see a fighter go out that on top, but as we said, you retire from the sport. Don't let the sport retire you.
And if you look at his history, he did the same thing in wrestling, and
Yeah,
everybody was up in arms like, wait, what? Like
yeah,
you still have like peak years ahead of you, and he was
yeah,
like, I'm done.
yeah,
And I think that's I think that says a lot to his character
Yeah.
because you can probably count on one hand boxing or mixed martial arts guys that have gone out on top like that
And
on
honestly,
one
you're
hand.
right. And if we say boxing recently, honestly, the only guy you could probably say is Mayweather. He went out with his money, his mind, and he's just chilling now and still making money. And that's really probably the only one you could say now. I mean, other guys that got beat
MMA,
up.
GSP,
Oh yeah,
GSP
GSP.
probably the only one.
Yeah, he came back, beat Bisping. I was like, all right, I'm out of here. Told you I could still do it, but
That's it.
yeah. So yeah, it's how some fighters have said it's just so hard to walk away from it. I mean, and you could say that for any sport too. I mean, we've seen football players stay on the fields too long. We've seen soccer players that don't run as fast, look out of it. Basketball, any sport, you're just like, man. I remember I'm a Laker fan, so watching Shaq with the Celtics, I mean, he was getting up slow, wasn't even running. It was like I'm not even mad. It's just I feel bad knowing that I watched you. I grew up watching you dominate, and now I'm watching you labor to walk. It was sad to see. So yeah, it's just
Definitely is, man.
yeah, it's at some point it's like man, you got to learn and you got to know to just let go. But as you said, there have been on your hand. That's really it. You could count three or four. You could combine it and probably barely make 10 people that have done it the right way and gone out really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that speaks a lot to his mindset, and he's going to go on to accomplish other great things.
Yeah.
I mean, I could honestly see him coming back and doing another fight with somebody else. I mean, but I think everything for him is on his terms.
Yeah.
Dude. He's accomplished everything there is to do under the
Yeah.
sun.
Yeah.
It's
That's
ridiculous.
gold medal, two-time, two division champion at the same time is. I mean, especially in MMA because you're going back and forth through different types of fighters through the different weights. It's not like it's only 3 pounds. I mean 7, 10 pounds. You're going back and forth that you got to actually do within 4 or 5 months, 6 months at the most. That's not easy to do, So
Nah, man, and it's crazy because if you talk to him personally, and you're like, I had the opportunity. He afforded me the opportunity to go to his house and check out his trophy room. And if you talk to him, that gold medal and that belt or the belts, those aren't even his prized possessions. He has these world championship wrestling plaques
oh
in his trophy room, and he points them out to me. He's like, "Those are my most prized possessions." He's like, "DC only has two." He's like, "I have seven." So I was like, look at him, like, man, and they're just
yeah
like a piece of wood, and like, dude, you're just like, wow, like you have belts, you have a gold medal, and those are your prized
yeah
possessions. That just goes to show it's the mentality and the grit that it took to accomplish those, as opposed to what he thinks the gold medal and those belts represent.
yeah
It's a different thing, man.
yeah. And you know what? I could go on now with this. I have a trainer and a boxer who I had on maybe a week ago, and they used to wrestle, and they've told me wrestling training and doing all that is a lot harder than any of
Hell
these other
yeah.
things here. And I'm just like, really, you guys are professionals? They're like, yeah, but wrestling's no joke. So when you think about it, it's you have to keep a guy down. You have to get him this way or that way. Especially when you're sweaty, it's real easy to slide out. So the fact, as you said, that he has seven of those, it goes to his skill and the type of fighter he is. I mean, and the thing is, it's not always just wrestling that he's using. That like that after a few years became one of the other things he had. He was knocking guys out. He was dominating guys, man. I mean,
Because
Dillashaw,
they were worried about his
yes,
wrestling.
and that shows you too that he just had a natural ability to scrap. I mean, the fact that he could just knock people out. T.J. Dillashaw, we've seen what he's done to fighters, and Cejudo just went in there and and you were like, "That's it, really?" And I mean, what he did again to Dominic Cruz, you're like, man, he was before that he was still beating him. I mean, regardless, he knocked him down early in that fight. So, I mean, I know people feel how they feel towards Cejudo, because of, honestly, it's a character he plays. He just plays
Oh
to the thing. And from everything that I've heard from fighters that actually know him or people that know him, they're like, oh, he's a great dude. He's a funny guy. He's respectful. He's class. But because of the character he does, people don't like him. But you gotta respect him no matter what. You have to
man,
respect a man like
sure,
that. So
sure,
yeah,
man.
that's I mean that's incredible. I never knew that that would be his prize possession. To me, a gold medal would be my prize possession of anything because, I'm the best in the world at this. But then you think about it, wrestling 7 times, man, you can't take away from that. That's like think about it.
No,
Jordan in basketball, we hear 6-time champion. It's he's the best at just basketball. So you think wrestling,
hmm
man, he did that 7 times. Okay, all right, and that's not a
yeah,
team sport. Yeah, it's not a team sport. It's a
exactly.
one-on-one sport. So that's impressive, man.
Wrestling is brutal, man. Wrestling is brutal. Yeah, I'm like you, coming in as a guy that, doesn't know what and everything that he's accomplished for him to point that out. And I'm like, dude, but you got, and he's like,
Right?
nose right there. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Right.
okay, I got you.
Right. Those two belts got you millions. No, it's the wrestling ones. Oh, okay. Like,
Yeah,
who are we to question him? Right. That's what he does.
100%.
So that's pretty cool. But that does show his character a lot. The fact that that's what it is. So man, that's deeply impressive. Going back a little bit with you, was it always MMA that you wanted to do, or were there other sports that you did and you like transitioned to MMA later on?
No, man. I mean, football. So I think I started soccer when I was like 4 years old, man. And I never that was like my love. That was like
Yeah.
that was it for me. And then as I got into like junior high, I got into football, and I was real good at football. I went to a Division 1 high school football, um, and I never grew. I was little, man, and I fought my way on that field, man. I started and I did the whole thing. I wanted to play football, but unfortunately, my size just
Yeah.
never got to the point that it needed to get. Um, and honestly, I fell in love with football, but soccer was always my first love, and I was good at it, man. And as a freshman, I literally walked onto the varsity team, um, and I was team captain freshman year, and I stuck with that. And honestly, by my junior year, I had gotten offered a scholarship to Fresno State, a full ride scholarship to Fresno State for soccer. I still wanted to do football, but I mean, when you're Latino and you don't got money like that, baby, you gotta try and
Yeah.
take whatever you got to take, right?
Yeah.
And then so I ended up getting my girlfriend at the time pregnant, and I had to make a decision: do I go to Fresno State and follow the World Cup dream like I've always wanted, or I stay back and handle my responsibilities?
Yeah.
And I still back handle my responsibilities, and now my baby girl is about to be 17 on Friday, man.
Yeah.
So it's been a long ride, man. But you know what? I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Not a single thing, man.
And for my local fans, as you know, we this is based in Fresno, so this would have been a man playing for the city here. But regardless, man, family comes first, so you had to do
Oh,
what you had to do. So that's not a problem at all. And as you said, look where it's got you. It was never for sure knowing what was going to happen with soccer. Here, I mean, you've developed, as you said, a moniker in the MMA world. You'll fight wherever, you'll fight whenever, and your daughter's 17 and you've been there for her life. So, I mean, there's nothing that goes above that. My daughter turns 5 in October, and I would change not one thing from anything that I've had with her. So, yeah, I definitely know how that feels.
yeah, man. I mean, the only thing you ever want to do is leave your kids in a better position than your parents left you, right?
Exactly. You want to make them better than what you were, and you want to know that they could handle themselves when you're no longer here. So that's always my goal.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Sports played a big role in my life, though, man. I'm very grateful for the work ethic that it taught me. Everybody's bigger than me, so when you go to a school like St. Paul, and you got a bunch of monsters coming at you, bro, and you're little. you don't have no choice. You throw your body in the mix, and dude, I had dudes that were like 6'3", 6'4", 250 running at me full speed. I was like, well, here we go,
You
and you're
gotta
just
do.
running your body, guys, bro. Like,
Yeah.
but that gains you respect, man.
Yep.
That gains you respect. Guys are like, damn, this little fool, like, he just tackled this big ass dude,
Yeah.
like, right?
It, like another old saying, it's not the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog. So
Right,
that's
baby.
the truth right there. That's what you always see.
Yep.
That's why I tell people, man, when I was growing up, or even just on the street, you hear, "Oh, that guy's big," and I'm like, man, I've seen fights. I've been in gyms, bro, where the little dude will whoop on the bigger guy. So I wouldn't. And then I always tell people, if the smaller guy is willing to do it, there's a reason. There's a reason why he's
Exactly.
willing to do that fight. You could always tell the guy that's like, okay, it's like, no, there's a reason he's saying, yeah, he knows he can do it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's, as you said, it earns you respect. You show up and you do what you got to do. So, and it helped you, man, as you said. It helped you in life. And now, I mean, you look like you're living pretty good, man. The only thing I would say is that Niner gear looks like it messed up there, but, it's all right. We'll let it
Yeah,
go.
haters gonna hate. I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of slack. He's cool, but I don't know about that Niner hat. Hey, we represent till the end, baby, all
I,
day.
I actually do got someone that actually spoke about the Brack Nuzzles coffee mug, though. He's like,
Uh,
yeah, he was like, I
there
like
you go.
that cup. Yeah, so hey, Ruse Games, man, he was giving you a shout out right here. He said he liked the mug.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, and being 6:47 West Coast time, I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that ain't coffee in that cup.
Nah, it definitely is coffee, bro.
Oh, it's
I'm
coffee.
trying to I'm trying to stay on point, baby. Yeah, I gotta
Ah,
get that four sigmatic mushroom coffee.
ugh.
Man, that stuff is shit, bro.
Oh,
I love it.
I can't drink coffee, man. Coffee gives me a headache. I smell coffee and my head starts thumping. Uh,
Oh man, I could drink coffee and go to sleep, bro.
oh no, that's my lady. She could drink coffee at any point of the day from anywhere. Me, I'm like, I don't know how you drink that, but that's just me.
Yeah, man.
I drink. I mix like a smoothie every morning. It's maca root and sea moss with milk.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my drink right there every morning before I go to
That's
work.
cool right there too, man.
Oh yeah,
That's
I get that.
yeah.
I'm pumped up. I go to work, handle about 5 6 hours before I had lunch, and I'm barely hungry. That stuff
Yeah.
puts it on you. So,
At least you're not putting that monster and that
oh
poison in
no.
your body, bro.
Hey, you know what? Where I used to work, because I used to drink soda every day. I had stopped drinking soda, but I was falling asleep at work, and I was like, "Let me see, what can I drink?" And I started drinking energy drinks, and I would crash hard. I drank a Bang, and on my lunch break, I legit was running through the parking lot trying to tire myself out, and I was like, "No,
He's
I
trying to
can't."
get that sugar out of the
Yeah, I was like,
system.
I need to run, and the security guard was just staring at me. He's like, "Dude, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro. I'm trying to sweat this out." He's like, "Are you sick?" Like, no. I was like, I'm sitting in there shaking, like I need to do something. So yeah, after that, I was like, I need to stop drinking soda. So I'm off of soda, never drinking an energy drink again in my life, and I started drinking
There
this,
you
and that's
go.
working fine. So I'll take that every day.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So I
Yeah, man.
mean,
That sugar.
yeah, when you're not training, when you're not, getting ready for a fight or in the gym all the time, what are the things you like to do, in your free time, your spare time?
Oh man, I love hanging with my daughter for sure. She's a crack up, man. She's getting to that age where we all start to create our own lives, and
Yeah,
she wants to hang out with her friends, and they go to parties and stuff like that. I mean, she's very responsible, so I don't have any problems with that. She knows that no matter where she's at, she can hit me up, and I got her back
yeah,
100%, no matter the situation. But I love spending time with my daughter, man. She's a crack up. The other thing I like to do, man, is I like to travel, man. I've traveled to a lot of countries so far, man. Southeast Asia. I've been out there. Dude, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia. I actually fought in Thailand when I was out there,
that's cool.
so that was pretty cool. I kind of did, and again, back with that moniker, it was kind of like, hey, we got a guy that slipped out. And it was kind of like a smoker deal. I was
Yeah,
like, come on, let's go. So went and did that. That was pretty cool. But I've been all through Southeast Asia, man. Um, but yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to traveling again. I mean, everything's kind of shut down, but
Yeah.
that's kind of my gig. Play soccer here and there. I haven't in a while, but they got an adult league. I'll come over here and serve the paisas up. Let them know what's cracking. Gotta let them know this little güerito también puede jugar. So all these guys, man. Yeah, dude. I just love hanging out, man.
Yeah. When you do that though, when you play with them, um, now how many times have they served you up, and how many times have you surprised them and they're like, "Oh man, respect."
Oh man, I mean, soccer's a crazy sport, man. It can go both ways, I mean, you got. Remember, I'm the old guy now.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't look like it because I got to be clean shaved for work now. But you know, I'm. They don't. People don't realize I'm 35, bro. Some guys are like, man, you look 26. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn. I guess I'm doing so bad, right? So, but you get out there, man. There's some 19-year-olds that are just like they got game, bro. And
Yeah.
you gotta be able to throw those veteran moves on them. And
Yeah.
I was always a fast guy, so if I kick the ball past you, bro, most of the time I'm running right past you.
Yeah.
So it just kind of goes both ways, man. But I think the bigger thing is trying to not trying because I'm very very composed out there. But if you've played soccer, man, you know that it could go down on the soccer
Yeah.
field.
Real quick.
So
Real quick.
quick like, bro, quick like. So um, having to just be able to hold your composure and know
Yeah.
that, like, look, this guy is not worth anything. Like,
Yeah.
just let it go. And like having to walk away. And the guys that I play with, they're like, they know what's up. So they're like, no. Like,
Yeah.
let's break this shit up,
Uh-huh.
So, but that's part of the game, man. I mean, you got a bunch of dudes out there, and everybody's got egos.
Yeah.
This ain't the fight, so everybody has something to prove.
Yeah.
When you get into with fighters, they're like, there's no one's got anything to prove because everybody knows what everybody's capable
Yeah.
of.
And it's fighters. They know, oh, you're in here, you can fight. Out there, you don't know if they can fight or not. So it's like, well, let me go show them real quick. But you never really know. And it's funny you say that about soccer because I think like all the sports I played, the times that I mean, we had one. I mean, there's a reason why in Europe they're called those riots or things that happen after a football game. We
Yeah,
had
you're
when I
talking about
played.
like hooligans?
Yeah, exactly. I had a game middle school. We were in the playoffs. We won the game 2-1. When we started walking over to shake hands at the end of the game, someone threw a punch. But I mean, it erupted. Funniest thing was my mom and one of her friends were the parents, but they were on the outside in the cars, and they seen all of this going down. And I mean, the coach jumped in from the other team. We had no idea who he was. He was about the same height as us, so people were throwing punches. I mean, we got cleats on, so good. There's kicks coming, and
Oh,
yeah, it just jumped in. And I thought about it. I was like, I don't remember that ever really going down when I played basketball, when I played football, baseball. No, it's been soccer where it's like, what's up, then come here, and it's in soccer. You could get kicked, you could get punched, anything.
oh
So
man,
yeah,
it goes down on the soccer
yeah,
field, bro. Like you gotta always be ready, man, because whether the game's going or not, somebody wants to pop off. It's gonna pop
yeah,
off, and when it pops off, it's not 1-on-1.
yeah.
It's 11-on-11.
It's that rumble, man. That's what it was that day, man. I mean, that right in the middle of the field, you just seen a whole bunch of kids throwing, and it was at the end, everybody's pushed back. Are you all right? You all right? And it was like, I'm cool. I was like, I didn't get hit. I'm one of the bigger guys, so it was like, nah, these little dudes couldn't reach me. But it was just funny to think about. I was like, I never had that in any other sport. I mean, you talk trash, but it never escalated to the point of let's start throwing blows. It was like, all right, it is what it is. Let's go. Let's go on to the next play, next game. But soccer, no, it's different, especially when it's a playoff game. I mean, they,
Oh man, in Europe it's crazy,
yeah,
bro.
yeah. That's
It's
why I tell
crazy.
people when they're like, "Oh, football's," I'm like, "No, man, you have not seen soccer in Europe. You will get beat down in front of the cop might kick you if he's a fan of the other team just to be like, man, get out." So they don't care when it comes to soccer. It's a whole another ball game out there, man.
Yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
man.
So
Soccer's a crazy sport, bro.
yeah, but hey, as you said, that's out of all the sports growing up, my favorite ones have always been fights and soccer. I mean, football, basketball, I love those two, but I could sit down and watch fights all day. I could sit down and watch soccer games all day. Like that's just the way I am. Because
Yeah.
especially with soccer, they just run through the game because it's so fast paced when it's played right. So yeah, football and basketball, I'm always gonna love it. But yeah, I mean, fighting and soccer, those are my favorite types.
And it's crazy because fighting and soccer happen on the soccer field, both of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it goes down, bro.
that's really how it is. Because yeah, if you think about like the majority of baseball fights, you see hands coming sideways, and I mean they don't know what they're doing. Football, it's like I mean they want to, but I think they know nowadays. Oh, you're definitely getting suspended if you even push them. So you don't see that many football fights. Basketball, I mean you can't even push nobody anymore. But I mean back in the day, you see those old videos. These guys getting clothesline, taken
And
down.
there they go
Yeah,
there.
but yeah, soccer it don't matter. You get kicked now. I mean, people flop, but when it's gonna go to a fight, oh, you'll see the whole teams. As you said, I mean, speaking of that, look at I want to say it was about 15 years ago. I'm a Chivas fan, Mexico. They win in
Okay, yeah, me too.
yeah, okay. So did
We
you probably yeah
we agree on something, bro.
yeah there you go.
Damn.
Yeah. So you remember this when they played Copa Libertadores? They played in Argentina. I want to say River Plate or River Plate, right? When they got into the fight
Yes.
with the fans and everything after they won the game. Oh my god. It's and that's the thing, man. That's just how serious some people take it. But if you
It
notice,
is, bro.
there was not one person from Chivas that backed up. They were like, "Well, what's up?" I mean, they were ready to go. So it's taken
Soccer
serious all over the world.
world for a reason, bro.
Exactly. I mean, I seen a video the other day where it was an older video, but it was a older man. It was a first time going to a game of his favorite team. I mean, he broke down when he walked on up the stairs and got to see the field. And it's you don't understand how that really is. I would love to go to a national game, Mexico, or I would love to see the Chivas play. That's just what I've always wanted to do. And shoot, I don't know. That might be relaxing. That might be me. I might just be sitting there like I'm really here. Okay, because I've gone to baseball games, football games, everything else pretty much, but I've never been to a soccer game like that in person. So I mean, that would be pretty
Well,
cool.
you better knock that one off your bucket list,
Oh,
Playboy.
definitely, definitely. And I mean, I've been to fights and I've been to some pretty big, pretty good ones. So that's the next one is a soccer game. I mean, wherever it's at, to go one day. I mean, just one game at least.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're always coming out here too, man.
Yeah,
You can hit locally.
yeah. Well, whenever they go to the Rose Bowl, all that, every time I'm always
Sold
working,
out.
or they sell out too in like 30 seconds. You go online, oh,
Yeah,
sorry, done. It's like, come on, man. So yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
man. Uh,
and then when they do have one that's not sold out, it's always like on a Wednesday. It's like, come on, dude, I can't go in the middle of the week. I got work the next morning. So man, I
yeah, yeah.
mean, yeah, so hopefully, I mean, now with all this going on, when it's able to go, I mean, hopefully we can, because I would love to take my dad to one of those games too. I mean,
Hell yeah,
I'm a
man.
I'm a big fan, but shoot, he's probably a bigger fan than me for all I know.
Yeah, you probably got it from him.
Exactly. No, well, I know I got the fight game from him, so yeah, definitely, probably where it came from. So, and what's funny is people that don't know MMA too well or barely got into it, they probably think, oh, everybody's a big fan of MMA, any races. Latino, Mexican, everything like that, it's boxing or nothing for the majority. But now it's you see them all.
Yeah,
My dad's the one that tells me sometimes, "Hey, when's the next Combate card? Oh, that guy's fighting. Oh yeah, I know him." Like the other day,
yeah,
it was a UFC card, and he actually remembered one of the lower undercard fighters. He was like, "Hey, we seen him before," and I'm like, "You remember him? I don't know, maybe like." But he remembered. He goes, "Yeah, he's the guy that does this." He goes, "See, I told you that's how he was gonna win." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
yeah.
like,
Pop already knows what's up,
yeah.
bro. We should have it. He should be the one conducting the interview.
No, but that one was funny. I was like, oh, okay, because I'll tell him other ones. She's like, oh, I don't know, I've never seen that one. Oh, I remember him, but I don't know him by name. But that guy, it was Harris something. But he was like, oh yeah, I've seen him fight before. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's gonna win by like he's gonna stop him submission or something. And 2 minutes in, he stopped. I was like, oh okay, all right, then there you go.
That's bro.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I gotta watch every fight now. Like I'm gonna have to go through YouTube and everything. So
But with Pops, bro.
yeah. But no, yeah, boxing, I got that from him. I mean, that's what I was into growing up. But as I said, as I grew up more and more, it was MMA was everywhere, and I started watching. I was like, man. And at first, I was more of, I don't like to see wrestling or going to the ground. But then when I was actually in a gym one time and I seen it, I was like, man, that shit's hard. Like
Yeah.
that's tough. And then I learned to really appreciate it because that's not nothing easy, man. So I mean, still, I mean, I love to see two fighters just bang it out, toe to toe. But now it's like if you go to the ground, I'm like, okay, he has to put his leg over this leg. He has to go on this side of his body. He's got to put his arm under here. He's got to put his arm under his neck, and he'll block it out, tuck his chin in. And people will look at me like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, that's how he's gonna stop a submission. That's how he could get a submission. Oh, that's how he could slide out of the position." And they're like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Oh, you guys don't know it like that. Okay, that's cool." Like, but I learned to appreciate it, and now like, someone goes to the ground, I'm like, "All right, let's see what he could do." And
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the more I've got into it, the more I'm like, "Oh, I love this stuff." If they go to the ground, I hope it's great. I mean, right now, Khabib is probably one of my favorite fighters to watch, and that's his thing. He gets you to the ground, you're not getting up. Yeah. So, and they just announced his fight with Justin Gaethje in October. Man, I can't wait for that.
Man,
Yeah.
that I've been watching Justin Gaethje since before anybody even knew about that
Yeah.
dude. Man, I was like, man, this guy is special, bro.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what though? He got that win against Tony, and I already knew about Justin. I knew how he fought. I knew how he got down. I felt like I learned more about Tony in that fight that he just never gave it. And those punches, man, he was getting hit hard, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, let's go." It was like, dude, for real? Like most men would have crumbled by now, like been unconscious. And he was like, "All right, you all right?" And even when it was stopped, he was like, "No, I'm cool." I'm like, "No, bro, I'm glad they stopped that fight because you weren't definitely gonna give in." So, yeah, seeing things like that, I mean, that's stuff you learn. But yeah, Justin and Khabib, that's gonna be a great fight, man. I mean, I feel like that's finally the one that's gonna test Khabib.
I hope so, man,
Yeah,
because I'm betting the house on Gaethje.
yeah. Hey, I mean, when it comes down to it, I don't know. That's gonna be one of those ones where I'm glad I'm not gonna bet on it because I could see it either way. I could see Justin catching him with something, and what some might know is how good of a wrestler Justin actually is. That's the thing people
Yeah.
tend to miss. It's like there's a reason he's always on his feet because he could wrestle really well that people don't know about. So definitely, I can't wait for that, man.
Oh yeah, man. I'm a huge fan of MMA myself,
Yeah,
bro.
I can't wait. I mean, all these cards coming up. That's why when I seen that Combate postponed, I was like, come on, man, like just come home, just come to
Oh man.
Cali, just come to Cali.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
let's come
Exactly.
over
Come
here.
home.
Even if I can't see it in person, man, just knowing that you're here, I'll feel good about it. So, man, I'm
Yeah.
hoping that gets worked out, and hope hey at the end of the day, hopefully it does happen maybe in September. Like we talked with one of the other guys, September, Mexican Independence Day weekend, do it then.
That's probably the best option right now, man. But
Uh,
who knows, man? Who knows? Because yeah, I think they're trying to play it by ear because
yeah,
California, uh, they're I don't want to say threatening, but they're kind of hinting towards another
another,
stay at home
yeah,
order,
yeah,
shutting it down. I mean, who knows, man? I mean, we're in such weird, funky territory that it's kind of unknown what's gonna
yeah,
happen, So, can you blame somebody for running a business on the practical side? Practical meaning safe, right? I
yeah,
mean, at the end of the day, fighter safety and the people's safety is probably the thing that they're taking into consideration more than anything.
yeah,
So when they say they can't guarantee nobody's safety, they're obviously taking the right precautions.
yeah. And my thing always has been, if a fighter is trying to make weight and they might be struggling at this, their immune system's a little bit weakened. Then you might throw COVID at them. No, they don't. They don't need that. We want every
Yeah,
fighter 100% for every fight. You never want to go in with stuff that wasn't, brought up through training camp or anything. You don't want to add something
yeah,
else, especially something as serious as this.
yeah, man. No, definitely. I mean, yeah, like we talked about at the beginning of this, right? The immune system, and
Yeah,
then having to go through a weight cut and whatnot. You got to have that stuff down. You
yeah,
gotta understand your body enough to know what's going on with how your body's reacting to cutting that kind of weight.
yeah,
It's a bigger issue when it comes down to putting yourself in a position to be vulnerable to something like COVID, right? So when they made the call to shut it down, yeah, it sucked. I'm not gonna be able to fight, but at the end of the day, I'd rather not fight and not have COVID than to
Yep.
go and travel all the way to Florida, have them spend the money, right? And then I end up catching COVID, and then we
Yeah.
still can't fight. Like it's just
Yep.
it's a lot of give and take, right? So at the end of the day, I think it was the right call. But at the same time, do I wish I was still fighting on August 28th? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yep. As the rest of the fans would love to see it as well. So, but better safe than sorry at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
A life in danger is not worth it. So let's
Nah.
let's do it when everybody's good and when we know that we have a better opportunity for everybody to be safe. As it is,
Yeah, for sure.
a fight's a dangerous thing to begin with, man. So why add more danger to it? Yeah.
Agreed.
So we're coming up on the end here, David. Man, I'm gonna give you a moment, to go ahead, shout anybody out, any sponsors, your team, whoever you want to shout out right now, man.
Yeah, man. I got a lot of support, man. So anybody that's ever followed me, and bought tickets to my fights or watched me on TV or logged on, to the Bellator link or the Combates link, man. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. I wouldn't be where I'm at without you guys. But I shout out to all my gyms. Brazilian Top Team Orange County, Total MMA Studios, Pledge, Gracie Gym OC. Um, Man, I got so many I can name. Um, Coach Jacob Harmon, you're there. If you guys don't know who Jacob Harmon is, look him up. World renowned wrestling coach. That's my wrestling coach right there. That's the guy that puts me through the ringer. So anybody that thinks that they're gonna take me down, good luck.
Yeah.
Go check him out. Um, Sponsors, man, I got Versa Climber, I got Be First, I got Extreme Safety, as just to name a few. Remezclas Cultura, House of Chingazos. I got a lot of sponsors, man. A lot of sponsors that have taken care of me and shown me love over the course of my career. I got to shout out to my homeboy Tony Gutierrez. I didn't forget about you, baby boy. Sportsman's Lounge, La Mirada. All you guys, man. Thank you guys for always supporting me. Um, we're gonna bring this title back. I know Puerta said he's gonna stay in my face. I personally believe he's gonna try and put me on my back. I don't think he's gonna stand with me, but let's see what happens.
Yep, and
Let,
we
let,
can't
let's
wait. So we can't wait for that fight, and hopefully it gets done sooner rather than later, so we could, see it. I mean, someone needs to take that title home, and to me, I've had both of you guys on. Love to have you guys back on, maybe together when the fight is rescheduled, so we could have you guys both on right before the fight. It'd be pretty cool to me. I mean, think so. Hey, let's do it. Um, so for
I'm
everybody
down.
else, let me give my shout outs. 26 Sports, as you already know, that was made by Uniquely Yours out in Selma. Thank you for the banner, the T-shirts, as you know, Notorious Graphics. Again, we want to send a shout out to Cali Smoke Shop, Maple on Illinois, Fresno, California. Go ahead and go through for anything that you need, paints, anything that you need, clothing, backpacks, drinks, any of your CBD oils or anything that you need. Go ahead and go through there, as well as Dirt Magnets Janitorial, Fresno, California, 559-374-7112. Home office, business, whatever you need, they got you. So again, guys, I want to say thank you to everybody that's followed along, everybody that'll watch or listen later over the next few days. And to David Duran, I want to give you a shout out, bro. Thank you for coming on. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot of things going on, but appreciate you taking time out of your day and your week. This is 26 Sports, episode 17. David, also, man, thank you. And shout out and happy birthday to your daughter this Friday, bro.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it, bro.
No
Hey, go
problem.
follow me on Instagram, baby, at farmer_OD. And then on Twitter, I'm at Desmadroso Duran.
Yep. So go ahead and give him a follow, guys. Check him out. Keep up to date. So when this fight comes, you guys will already know. And hopefully we can get both him and Juan Puerta back on for a special episode when the fight is announced. So for everybody else, guys, thank you again for following along. We'll catch you next week, next Monday. I'll have Golden Boy prospect Luis Angel Feliciano And then next Friday, I'll have two-time former champion Antonio DeMarco, and that'll be our first Spanish episode with Antonio DeMarco calling in or showing up. So thank you guys all, and you guys have a great rest of your week. Be safe, and take care of your families, man. Good night.